Hi, I'm Cassie of Fed and Fit. I'm so glad you're here. Today we're going to be making 5 different margaritas that are all created with healthier for you ingredients, and these are so simple and straightforward. If you struggle with cocktails like I do, these are going to be so handy for you because they're very, very easy. We're going to make a spicy, fresh lime juice margarita, a frozen mango margarita, a fresh coconut margarita, a frozen watermelon, and then we're gonna end it all off with the most classic margarita. Okay, the very first margarita we're going to make is the margarita that put me on the map, I'm not gonna lie. And it's the margarita that I love the most, but a spicy margarita. And I will tell you, I'm highly opinionated about my margaritas. I want a margarita that's not too sweet, that has just the right amount of tequila, and I want it to be tart. I want fresh lime juice. When I first wrote this recipe, I wrote it and I called specifically for must be fresh lime juice because too many folks were making margaritas using like those squeezy packs of lime juice. I mean, I don't mean to poke fun if that's what you're doing, but fresh lime juice makes a really big difference in the end product. So juice it or buy fresh lime juice from your produce. The very first step we're going to do is we're going to garnish the glass. So you just saw I did it without even talking about it because it's so second nature. I like to cut a lime in half, and then I will scrape it along the edge of my glass like this. You get a little pulp on the side, you get some good juice, but not too much juice. And then I dip it upside down into my sea salt, if you want a salted rim. And then just very lightly tap it with your finger to knock off any of the excess, and you have a perfectly salted glass. Okay, so while our glasses are already garnished, I'm just gonna let them sit there and we're gonna go to assembling our margarita. And it is simple. My goal for y'all is for this recipe to just become second nature because you don't need to think about it. Y'all, I am not a good cocktail maker. This is a half a cup of tequila, by the way. I'm using a silver tequila. This brand is actually one of my recent favorites. Espolón is one of my favorite tequilas right now because it's relatively affordable and it's got a really great flavor profile. Okay, and then half a cup of tequila, half a cup of lime juice, 1 for 1. This margarita is the only one I'm making for you today that is sweetened with honey. So I'm gonna go ahead and put in, this is 4 tablespoons worth of honey. You could do as much as 4 tablespoons or as little as 2. And start whisking that up, and that is actually going to, the lime juice and the tequila will help that honey dissolve pretty quickly. And then for the spicy part, if you wanna make this margarita and you don't want the jalapeno, you can skip this part. But I am going to add it in because I love a spicy margarita. Half of a margarita, this recipe is going to make two servings. And so I'm gonna put in half of this jalapeno, these wedges. Now, the more seeds that wind up in this, the spicier it'll be. Also, the more you muddle it, meaning like the more you kind of beat them up in here with your whisk or with your spoon, the spicier it's gonna be. So just heed that warning. If you're making this ahead, which again is one of my favorite things to do, this is a great margarita to make for a crowd ahead of time. Put those jalapenos in a little early and you'll have infused jalapeno tequila with lime juice. Okay, next step. While that sits there for a minute, I'm gonna put our ice into our cups. I'll use a spoon because I'm fancy. Woo! And I like to fill, because all of our margarita ingredients, they're all room temperature. I like to overfill these glasses almost with ice, really fill them up. Just like that. And then it's done. It's ready to pour on over. You wanna make sure that when you're pouring your margaritas that you stop a little bit before you get to the salt so it doesn't wash that salt off. Garnishing these glasses is sometimes the most fun part, so I just cut a little bitty lime wedge and made a little indentation with my knife just halfway through so that it'll just sit right there on top of the glass. And then I just think a couple sprigs of cilantro are really fun and festive. You don't have to eat it. It just makes it just a nice pretty little touch. And then here you go. This is not a huge margarita. This is not your like 20-ounce pour that you'll get at the local Tex-Mex restaurant. This is gonna feel pretty petite. It packs a punch. This is a serious margarita for serious margarita drinker. And if you want this, you want to water it down a little bit, it's going to be very tart. It's going to be really delicious in my opinion. You can definitely put a little splash of Topo Chico or some sparkling water on top. Or if you want to make a non-alcoholic version, just swap sparkling water in for the tequila. Next margarita we're making is a frozen mango margarita. Might be my father-in-law's favorite. My mom's in the back, she just did a fist bump. We really care about our mango margaritas in this house. So the ingredients are really simple. We're going to first do a 1/4 cup of lime juice. You'll notice there's a little less lime juice in this one because the mangoes are tart in their own right. A 1/4 cup of triple sec, which is an orange flavored liqueur. And it's also, you can substitute triple sec with Grand Marnier, any of those orange liqueurs. Triple sec actually can be 0 proof. So that's a fun fact. And then we've got 2 cups of frozen mango. Heading on in. And then I have here, it's optional, but a tablespoon of agave just to help sweeten it up a little bit. And then we're going to do a 1/2 cup of silver tequila. Okay, and we're gonna blend it up until it's nice and smooth. And then while it's blending, I will garnish our glasses with a really spicy chili powder mix. It's called tahine, and it is so yummy. I'll actually do this really quickly. I'm gonna pour a little bit into this bowl, get a nice little pile of it in there, and then might as well do it right now while you're sitting here. Let's go ahead and prepare our glasses. For this one, instead of preparing the tahine all the way around the glass, I'm actually gonna do it on a side because sometimes you might want to taste some of that spicy tahine flavor, which is essentially a salted chili powder. And sometimes you might want to take a sip without it. So one option for that is to garnish only a portion of the glass. Mango margarita is all blended and beautiful. Pour it right into our glasses. These are really big glasses, don't be deceived. This makes a lot of margarita. That's a margarita. A whole 1/2 cup of tequila in there, friends. No wonder my father-in-law liked this one. And then I'm going to garnish with some fresh lime, a little wedge that I just very lightly scored. And there you have it, a fresh mango margarita. It's like a smoothie, but boozy. The next margarita we're going to make is a new one maybe to you, but a coconut margarita. And it's just so good, so light. If you love coconut milk, you might love this one. So what we've got is our cute little glasses, and I'm gonna start off on garnishing these just like we had before. I'm gonna rub this lime all around the outside rim. I like the lime juice as you just need some sort of a liquid to get your garnish to stick, whether it's salt or something else, and lime has just enough sugar for it to really be sticky. Then I have some unsweetened shredded coconut in here that I'm going to use as my garnish. Okay, now for the base of this margarita, we're just going to use, this is a can of full-fat coconut milk. If you have refrigerated coconut milk that you want to use, that's fine. I just really like the canned stuff. We're going to need a whole cup of it. Ooh, there we are. That should be about right. I'm not wearing my glasses. It's really possible that's off. But these are flexible recipes. They're going to be fine. It's going to be fine. 1/2 cup of silver tequila. A 1/4 cup of lime juice. Woo! And then, it's how I make cocktails at home. Every ingredient, woohoo! And then a tablespoon of agave. Skip it, add a little bit more, a little bit less. It depends on how you're feeling, how sweet you want it. And then using this little whisk, I'm just going to mix it up. And with all of these recipes, y'all, this one and the other 4 that we're making today, we have the links to the full recipe in the caption below for you. So you don't have to sit there and scribble it down on your Post-it note. You can just head right over to the website. We have very detailed, not approximate directions for you over there. Okay, now, once that's whisked, now I'm going to add a little ice into these glasses. And if you would want to do this one frozen, you could absolutely do this as a frozen margarita. What I would do is I would actually mix everything together. The tequila will not freeze in the same way that you might expect a solid to, or a liquid to. And so what I would do is I would mix it just like this, pour it into a little ice cube tray, and it'll get really nice and thick and slushy-like, and then pour that into your blender to get a really thick, slushy-like margarita consistency. Again, Glass is almost all the way full with ice because this is room temperature. Pour it over. It's like a tequila White Russian, which is so creamy, minus the other ingredients that go that go in a White Russian. That looks delicious. And then another tip that you could do for the coconut that's around the rim, if you want, you are welcome to. You can, I'm gonna get another. Oh, here we are. If you want the coconut around the rim, you could toast it really quickly in the oven, put it on a sheet pan, and just give it a really quick toast. I would stick it under 375, maybe 5 minutes. Not long, it burns quickly. And then that would make for a really delicious toasted coconut rim, or not. And then just a little lime on the side. How cute is that? I'm gonna take a sip. It's so good. It's so good. Fourth up in our list is a frozen watermelon margarita, and we are making this with fresh watermelon. Are you ready for it? It's so easy and so delicious. So what we did is we took a watermelon, sliced it up, doesn't have to be any kind of fancy, just cut it up, feed some to the kiddos or the puppies. Puppies love watermelon rinds. And then put it on a sheet pan and freeze it in one big layer. This recipe calls for 4 cups of watermelon. Just kind of eyeball it, y'all. These recipes are super flexible. They're gonna be friendly with you, whether you wanna make a whole bunch or just a little bit. I like to think when it comes to frozen, if you're using fresh fruits, taste as you go. If you need more tequila, add a little bit more tequila. If you need a little bit less, add a little bit less. So I'm gonna put that's about 2.5, almost 3 cups of watermelon in here because I'm gonna make fewer servings this go around. We're going to add, you ready for it? A whole cup of tequila. That's the full amount for the recipe, if you were making the whole thing. All right, and then we're gonna do 1/3 cup of lime juice. And then I have 2 tablespoons of honey that I'm going to add in. You could definitely use agave syrup here, or you could skip it altogether. Simple syrup is also an option. I'm just a really big fan of the natural sugars. And I think that's it. I'm gonna add a little bit more watermelon because I put a lot of tequila in there. It says it's supposed to make anywhere between 6 to 12 servings. It depends on how big your glasses are. So you go with whatever you feel good about. I'm cutting my garnish for this really quickly. I'm gonna do whole wheels of lime to garnish this glass. And to the part of the lime that I'm not going to use is what I'm going to apply to the rim. I'm gonna put salt on my margarita, this watermelon margarita. You could definitely do sugar. You could do another tahini or spicy chili powder rim. Are these beautiful glasses? They're just gorgeous. And now we get to pour in our frozen watermelon margarita. It's like an adult slushie, and I'm here for it. What a fun day to be in the office. For my little lime wheel that I cut off from the center of the lime, I'm gonna put a knife in through just to the halfway point, and that will make sure that it stays propped up on your glass without falling too far over. Well, that one fell a little far. That's a better student. The last margarita we're gonna make today, I think I'm blushing now, is a classic margarita. And it's just that. It's really classic, very simple, not fussy. And I tell you, when we were hatching this margarita, we tested a lot of options. It was a very extensive research that we went through. We really fell on the sword for y'all, testing all the margarita options. And what we found is that basic ratio is what's gonna work the best. And the recipe is published in that ratio. It's also published if you wanna actually just measure it for 2 glasses, which is what I'll do for you today. But the best ratio, according to our taste testers, myself included, and I'm very opinionated, is going to be a 2-part tequila to 1 part lime juice and 1 part triple sec. That's it. And triple sec, again, can be swapped for a Grand Marnier or another orange liqueur. Or you could leave it out, you could play with other things. Sometimes I've even swapped triple sec for an orange sparkling water, and that was really delicious. We've also played around with orange essential oil dropped in. Just a little bit of orange is gonna go a long way. So for these glasses, I'm gonna garnish them just like I had before. For a classic margarita, we just need some sea salt. So I'm scraping the rim of this glass with a half of a lime, And then we'll just twirl it through this pink sea salt. We have an article on the website, and we'll link to it below, that is all the different kinds of margarita salts that we love. So be sure to check that out if you want other options, if you want to know how to make your own chili salt, if you want to do a salt that has some lime zest in it, all kinds of great stuff. Okay, now let's make this margarita. In here, I'm gonna make it in this teeny little container because if we're running low on containers. We've got a 1/4 cup of lime juice, to which I'm going to add the 1/2 cup of silver tequila. We've gone through a whole bottle of tequila today. And we're also going to add a 1/4 cup of that triple sec. And then this is optional, but I'm gonna add in a tablespoon of agave syrup. We tested all the different sweeteners for this classic margarita, and we still feel like agave is the way to go. It doesn't impart as much flavor. The honey in those other margaritas adds a little bit of a honey flavor, which is delicious, but the agave tends to just kind of blend in a little bit better. Also, tequila comes from the agave plant, so that just makes a lot of sense to me. I'm just doing a really light whisk, and then this, y'all, is what you could make ahead if you have a party. Just this. I will make this exact margarita, these exact ratios. I'll just up it. I'll do a cup of tequila, right? And then a 1/2 cup of lime juice and half a cup of triple sec, and then a couple tablespoons of agave, and put it in a mason jar and stick it in my refrigerator. And if I have a party or we're having family come over, I'll just have that in the refrigerator and pour it out over ice whenever we're ready to serve it up. Really easy. And that way the ice doesn't water it down. It's just a really nice recipe. Okay, ice into our glasses. Margarita on the rocks. That's my favorite. On the website, we also have frozen margaritas for you if you prefer those, but this one's my jam. A lot of ice again, and then we just pour her right on top. Perfect. Then we're gonna garnish with a little fresh lime wedge. I'm gonna do those wheels again. And for this one, I'm just gonna give it a little twist, and then I'm gonna drop it right in. A classic margarita, make ahead friendly, not going to disappoint. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found that helpful. I am really excited about our afternoon here. Remember, every single recipe is linked below. And for more cocktail inspiration, be sure to check out the cocktail playlist on your screen right now.